Chair, I make a motion that we come out of executive session.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Mr. Menchaca.
I didn't see him there.
Is Sean out there?
Yes.
Okay, come on up, Anita. Randy. Come on up, Sean.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm Mr. and Commissioner Ken Bullock. Good to see you back. Are we up front?
Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. The purpose of this next session is to have a discussion about tax exempt status for the properties the Portland Health Trust has, so that we don't have you guys doing more work than you need to, and we don't have to do more work than we need to during the request for tax exemption. Historically, we've had some discussions about that in the past. You guys have applied for extensions that were approved. Last couple of years, we've denied a bunch, and so on and so forth. And so today, we're just looking for a definition of something that we can both agree on, so that you know what to work on. Because in the past, we've asked for a certain amount of things, and I know we haven't quite got back what we were looking for from you. And so today is just an attempt to save both of us some work in the upcoming season. And so I just wanted to real quick start with the Idaho code that talks about tax exemption and taxation. Let's see, taxation herein under as long as the property is used exclusively for one or more of the combination of exempt purposes provided within the tax code. Section 63.6, charitable limited liability companies, which I believe the Portland Health Trust is, that meets that definition. So within the tax code, it says uses such property for business purposes from which a revenue is derived, which in the case of a charitable purpose for which such charitable organization exists, then the same shall be assessed and taxed as any other property. So if it is a charitable organization, we can waive some of that. If such property is leased in part or used in part by such limited liability company, corporation, or society for such purposes, the assessor shall determine the value of the entire building and the value of that part used for commercial purposes. So even though you may own the building, if they're part of it that is used for commercial purposes, then we can tax that person, which I think we've had that in the past and don't have any arguments over that. The last one is if the organization is organized pursuant to Idaho code and has received an exemption from taxation from the Internal Revenue Service, then again you qualify for that. And this pertains to the hospitals. Section 6 of Section Code 63.6 says, if a hospital corporation uses a property for business purposes from which a revenue is derived that is not directly related to the hospital corporation's exempt purposes, then the property shall be assessed and taxed as any other property. And so I think from the commission standpoint, Commissioner Moser, since you've been here, you can back me up on this. Some of our heartburn is the business purposes that don't directly tie to Portland Health Trust's mission, and that we feel. For example, you have a doctor's office that does knee surgery or whatever. While it is a health mission, it's not directly tied to the mission that you guys have. So that's why we say tax the portion of the building that is owned by the doctor and leave that 30% or whatever is you guys own in that non-tax exempt status. Did I explain that correctly?
Yes, and we've done that.
So today we're trying to bridge that gap between what you guys feel is that tax exempt purpose and what we feel is what should be taxed. So I'll give you the floor for a minute and see where we go.
Do you want to talk about the mission? Because
Well, I think, we were going to go over kind of our mission and stuff that we have. I think we are clear on that, right? So the contributions we made to the community, so maybe we don't go through all that.
And let's be very clear, we love your mission and we think you're a great asset to the community and a great partner to Bannock County with the wellness complex and things that go up there. So
Well, thank you for the good words. And also, by the way, thank you for trying to provide some clarity for us. That was one of the things we saw. Was just trying to figure out, instead of playing whack-a-mole on what information we provided, what specifically was it that we could provide that would be helpful. So much appreciated that approach. I think for us, I got caught up in thanking you and sort of
Sorry.
I lost my train of thought a bit. But I suppose our take is that the health trust purpose is improving on health. And for us, I tease a bit that sort of saying, if doctors aren't part of a health mission, what sort of industry might they be in? And I teased a bit about saying, maybe they're in mining or they're in the ag sector or something like that. And so I think at least you can understand where we're coming from on that. And I think for us, trying to provide some clarity is, we've tried to seek some advice, and tax experts have said, well, a couple of things. First of all, we just sort of said, let's kind of try to meet these guys halfway. And, the 23% exemptions, which was about 70% of the exempt cost, we just didn't even apply for last year. We just said, look, if this is even iffy, let's just not do that. At least that was our approach to sort of meet the commission a bit, or the Board of Equalization, or I'm not sure if I'm addressing it right, but
Right.
I guess you get my point, to meet them halfway. And certainly the stuff that we either lose money on, or that we occupy, or that we perhaps, I think if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying also you agree that not-for-profit organizations that are housed in our buildings, that would typically be, I don't want to, at least that's your general thought, that would typically meet the exempt purposes under this code?
If it is a not-for-profit and they're operating within your building, then I don't believe that does meet the code.
Yeah.
So that would not be exempt from tax. That portion of the building would not be exempt.
I was curious for things like, I think it's clear in the code, but also things like, there's a lot of things that we have like that we give away, like we have our training level in our conference rooms, we give all that use away, or we use it ourselves. Things like we house the Boys and Girls Club, we house Friends for the Children, we house Pocatello Police, and I think that Bannock County Sheriff can also use the substation. But we don't even make up we don't even make up the operating costs on that. We get zero. Then there's organizations that we apply for, many of them in city center, some of them in our Bannock County, that we don't quite meet even our operating costs. And then there's some organizations that we're able to meet, still under our purpose, but we're able to meet a retail. And I guess for us, we see it as it's about providing services. That's kind of what our mission is. We didn't think about somebody's tax exemption. If we knew we needed the crisis center, we're like, let's work on our mission to provide the crisis center, make sure the crisis center is co-located with the free clinic. And those are the things really when we're attempting to do it, we're really looking at our mission first. And I think that's probably partly why, I think you guys have sensed before, our frustration is we're working awful hard on our mission. That's why it was meaningful that you at least were positive toward us. So thank you for that again. Anyway, so those are the things that at least you're providing some clarity that will help us. Did I address what you were looking for, Chairman?
And I mean, we've had this discussion many times. Excuse me. But when the applications come in, all they say is it meets our mission statement. It doesn't say anything about all these things that you just said. And so there's no information there for us to make a decision on. It just meets, I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it at that point.
Actually, I think it's
So-
fair, but I think
Yeah,
it's
so,
fair, actually, what you're saying.
so I'm looking at the application, and it says, describe the use of the property to the application organized on January 1st. Be specific of all activities. Okay, so I've had a group of tax people throughout the state sit down and go, okay, let's describe what this means. And we've come up with a statement and said, okay, well, this meets our mission because we're a 501c3, not-for-profit, and our mission statement is to enhance the revenue of Bannock County and surrounding areas.
It's a health. You said it.
You said revenue.
Enhance the revenue. I was going,
They all enhance.
We're all for that.
that's why we're taxing you. We want that revenue.
The revenue generated is for enhancing the health of Bannock County and surrounding areas.
You have to
Okay.
have a bit of fun too.
Yeah, true.
So, anyway,
I think what he's trying to get to, if I'll help you just a bit here, Clark, is the form doesn't really provide us with any
Exactly.
specific information to provide us. So that's where we get into the whack-a-mole of going, we give up, right? And I think, so providing us something of clarity would sort of be helpful.
And it's not just Portland of Health Trust. I mean, we have churches that rent out their buildings. Well, they pay taxes on that. When we found out that they was renting them out and what was going on with them, we have other organizations that rent out portions and parts of their charitable organization, and we tax each one of them. We started looking at each one of these forms. And I don't know how it was done in the past, but we started looking at each one of them and started asking questions, and that's where we come up with this. That's where it come about.
We, just to be clear, is we don't make any revenue from any organization that is not in the health field. In fact, we have told people come in with a full retail value, people like we had a financial advisory firm that was going to come in and move with no question, no renovations, full tilt rent. And we told them no, because it's not what we do. And I think that's, and I keep focusing back on our missions. That's because what we live, and it's kind of what we talk about, and it's what we deliver. So I understand where you're coming from. I just want you to understand the heart and really the purpose, and then not only that, but actually how we operationalize the things that we do are really related to that. So.
And that's my question is, if you're looking for some specific information, then put it on the application so I know what I'm supposed to submit to you. Because I submitted a schedule that listed everybody that we're renting to. What are they, a partnership? Are they a government agency like D6, which the county commissioner signed the contract with? What suite they're in, how many square feet it is, what the revenue is generated from, and what services they provide. Mental health services, a medical clinic, the Pocatello Free Clinic, that's physician services and dental services and things like that. And then it comes back, well, you didn't provide enough information. So I'm going, what do you want for me, and put it on the application so that I know what to give you.
Fair enough.
In quoting somebody that I know, we don't know what we don't know.
Is that me?
Yes. What I'd like to see that would help us is the difference between, I'm conflicted with a profit center versus your mission statement. And I think if you would give us some sort of clarification on a particular property or whatever, is it a profit center tenant? Is it a mission? And how does it dovetail in besides? Because you're not a profit center. At least you're not supposed to be if you're a 501c3.
Well, you are supposed to be able to create profit. I'm talking about profits. I think the thing about 501c3 that people are getting mixed up about is the reason a not-for-profit would typically be granted a couple things. It's about their mission, but it's also about their ownership structure.
Right.
Right.
If you have a set, and we have no stockholders, and I think that's important because even if we were to create revenues, I think that's why you're allowed to create and encouraged to create incomes. That always has to go towards use for your mission and your purpose.
Right.
All of our money would always have to be used for health in this region.
And to me, that would help on a parcel by parcel or whatever we're talking here is, number one, what is your mission and what is their purpose for being as well too,
Okay.
and reconcile those.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're guessing what a particular organization or a doctor's, how are they meeting your mission?
Yeah.
By them being in your building, how are they meeting the criteria? And I think that's the information that rather than, I mean, you could name a doctor's office, you
So
could name,
we can add that to the form, Clark.
Yeah.
Say, how does their mission align with yours to justify the exemption? Would you agree with that, Anita?
Yes.
I mean, to me, I think that's the bottom line for all of this. We have to reconcile that.
There's absolutely
So-
nothing we have done that wasn't a mission first.
I think that would help if you would start with that approach, and saying the following people, this particular building that you're applying for, all the different parcels, how do we reconcile that with your mission and their mission? Other than that, I'm not sure. The revenue probably doesn't make so much difference, is how do the missions reconcile
Yeah, I think I
between the
kind of
two?
agree with that.
So I had a statement on here, for instance, Health West, 501c3, Suite 100, 4,977 square feet that they're using. The property is used exclusively for the purpose of which Portneuf Health Trust is organized, including mental health services. So in the suite over there, 5,000, just under 5,000 square feet is for mental health services. That's part of our mission.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that particular one, but I do know there's some,
Well, I do.
well,
I'll tell you
okay,
what.
let me finish, because I understand the mission, I know why you guys were set up, been through that. You could be fined forever, every little word. You could wordsmith this forever. And mental health is a concern for the well-being and the health of Pocatello. So, anyway, I'm looking for something like that. Who cares whether it's Health West or a doctor's office or whatever? I'm going to look at how they are filling why your purpose, according to statutory stuff, how's that going to meet the criteria that the statute has set? That's how I'm looking at that.
And this comes from a little different angle. So maybe during budget, when Health West comes and asks us for funds, well, they're already receiving a break. Or somebody, I mean, so somebody's double dipping
By the way,
here.
they are receiving a break from us as well.
And that's what I'm saying, is the taxpayers of Bannock County end up, you aren't taxed, so you're giving them a break. So the taxpayers of Bannock County are the ones that are paying for that, in essence, in lieu of taxes. And then on the other side, with tax money, we are donating towards their purpose. So the taxpayers of Bannock County are paying twice, in my opinion. That's the way I'm looking at it. So when this stuff comes before us, and I say, okay, who gets the break here, and why should Bannock County taxpayers pay twice for one organization or two
I understand the
organizations?
second part, but I don't know, have any knowledge about the second part, but I understand, at least to hear what you're saying.
But as I go through all these forms, that's what I'm evaluating
Yeah.
and looking at. So maybe
Fair enough.
when they come, we say, well, no, you're already getting a break from
They won't
Portneuf
worry
Health
about
Trust, and so Bannock County citizens are not
We're
gonna,
just gonna describe to you
Contribute.
what's happening,
Yeah.
the facts of what's happening, I think that's what.
So let me ask legal counsel this, maybe as an attempt again to save everybody some time and effort, if you can prepare one that you think would be kind of in that gray area that we really have a decision back and forth on, submit it to us before so we can look at it and say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we're not, this is what we need, and get it back to you, again, without making a decision on it, just saying,
Here's our thought.
here's what we're missing, or here's some additional information that we need going forward, then maybe we could allow you to move forward after that.
I don't have a problem following that procedure. We would just need to make sure that we would do that with any other entity that would request it. So we can't be giving preferential treatment, is the only issue there.
Would we need
That's
to just formally request it, or can we just request it here today?
You need to formally request it. So under the statute, an application has to be made. That application has to be reviewed annually. And the decision for the commission, it's not necessarily a discretionary decision. They have to look at what you've submitted and determine whether you've met the burden to show that the use of the property and the ownership of the property is for a charitable purpose. That's essentially what the statute's looking for. And so it's any decision that arises out of this, any taxpayer in the county can appeal to the district court. The per se status of any property in the state is that it's taxable. That places the burden on the entity seeking the exemption to prove that the use of the property, the ownership of the property is connected to a charitable purpose. I hope that answers the question.
I have just one follow-up.
Yes, okay.
And I guess what I'm trying to, when I'm using the word reconcile, because there's a word that jumped right out with it says exclusively. And so I guess that in mind, I would love for you to look at that statute and help us so that when we look at this, is this exclusively? Because that seems to be the buzzword in that statute, that is this property exclusively used for that? And that would help us if your version or your application is you're saying, this is how we're defining that. then we have that opportunity to come back and say, well, we can see it, that's a stretch or whatever. So with your application, I'd love to see you address that statute on your end before it ever comes to us and say, this is how it meets
Yeah.
that statute. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, I think I just trying to avoid problems. Like I said, everything that we've done, we've approached from a mission perspective first. In fact, some of the properties we bought reluctantly because we know that it would help something, I was thinking about like our Northgate property, we were half in and half out, and that's been the one building we do derive some revenue. It is clearly used for primary care purposes, which is, I don't know how that wouldn't fold into health. I just couldn't understand it. And then we've sort of been left sitting with other, and we knew this, by the way. We went into it understanding that we weren't going to allow, we've been approached, we sold that land. McDonald's has approached us to buy some of that land. And we just said, no, we could make revenues from it because we had a broader purpose of saying, let's create an outpatient campus. So it's clearly it is, but also we've been told it's a little more complicated than that. That's kind of what I hear, what you're
Yeah.
sort of telling us. Hey,
So-
we get you, but it's a little more complicated.
So Clark, would that be acceptable to you to draft up a test one? Let us take a look at it and then tell you what we think we need and don't need. And again, as per council, that would be open to anybody else that would like that opportunity. But you guys have so many properties, trying to save both of us a little bit of effort.
And that would be very helpful because I go back through and I read the application. It says list it in detail and I'm going, well, I did. And then you're going, well, it's not what we were looking for. So I'm going, okay,
We'll try, we'll do
what can we do?
Okay, so we'll do that then. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Appreciate it very
Good to
much.
see you all.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so for everybody else in here, we have a bid opening at 10, so we're going to go as fast as we can till 10 o'clock and then take a break for that. So Scott, you're up. Speed, this is speed dating.
We're going fast. Scott Crowder, event director, business manager. I have the gentleman from Mystic Realms here with us today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Director.
I'm Michael Collins, one of the owners of Mystic Realms.
Dan Edwards, one of the owners of Mystic Realms.
So the last few years we have worked with Mystic Realms to provide a fantasy, they put on a fantasy fair up at the complex. It's grown quite a bit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's an interesting, it's a very, it's surprising event for us up there. Do you guys want to just talk briefly about what's going on and how it's growing for you guys?
Sure. It's basically kind of like a Renaissance fair. I think most people are more familiar with that term than fantasy fair. Excuse me. But we're leaning more towards the fantasy genre to make it open to more people and more interest, so it's not locked into that historic Renaissance kind of time frame. But we offer entertainment, a lot of vendor booths, things like that. Like you said, we did grow, we went from,
We went from 2,800 people the first year to 3,400 the second year.
as far as attendance goes. Yeah, so it's on a, it's only been 2 years, but I guess it's on a growing trend. So we're hoping that this year we'll get even bigger. And it's just a great thing for a community. It's like I said, very open for everybody to come out and kind of be themselves or be somebody else and enjoy themselves for a while.
So the way that we did this last year is we actually have named the little corner of our property that didn't have a name or fee. We actually now just call it Mystic Gardens for the use. But anyway, they usually rent from that area, and then they also take the most southern Bannock soccer fields. We do have a fee for the soccer fields, but not for that Mystic Gardens area. And so we have come up with a general fee about the cost of a soccer field would be what we rent the Mystic Gardens area for. And then we also have part of our contract is where we go up and we sell alcohol up on the complex. We take the proceeds of the alcohol. Part of their contract is they have a lot of people that bring in gear and a lot of stuff with them, and we allow them to dry camp as part of this contract in that rental space. So
So the fee's $2,700.
$2,700,
Is what they're paying,
yes.
but the public are free.
No,
They
it is
come
a
in,
fee.
You charge too.
it's a paid event to the public.
Okay.
But and again, we just have a ton of people that go down to it. So I think it's a good event for us. It helps us with some of our food and beverage sales, and I think it's a good community event.
Okay. Haven't had any problem in the past.
Nope. Okay, I'd entertain a motion on that then.
I would make a motion that we would go ahead and approve and allow a signature on the rental agreement with Mystic Realms Fantasy Fair.
We have a motion, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good job, gentlemen.
Sweet, thank you.
All right, Nicole? The next application is for use of kind of the same area and a little bit more of the complex. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves? We do a lot of work with Snake River Doodles as well, so.
Nicole Jorgensen, Snake River.
So this event is for the Southeast Idaho Days. Do you want to describe the event real quickly, briefly?
Last year was our first year trying out Southeast Idaho Days. We just kind of wanted to have a festival. We have a big inflatable company that comes in. We have like a kids parade. We have a kids talent show. We have little local bands come and perform, and it's all free to the public.
And again, when we evaluate a fee for that, we assess it just to the rate of a soccer field. Even though there's no fee schedule, that's why we bring it to you guys for a contract. We essentially just charge out the same fee for a soccer field for that area.
Okay, Commissioner Moser had a
Parade,
question.
that's when I saw the parade. Where is this conducted? What kind of parade? You said a kids parade.
Yeah, it's
What are we
just
doing?
Kids, strollers, bicycles. It's on the path inside the
The walking
grass.
path. Okay.
And
And
again,
I
this-
saw parade,
this-
I wasn't sure if we was going out on Olympus, what,
No.
where we was going, what was going on.
No, and every now and again, we do get events that request like a parade, and usually if it impacts the main road, we don't push that forward, but like the Mystic Realms Festival, this kind of it's a bigger event for us. You guys know how our world works, we're just busy every day in the summertime, and I will not remember this until the day it occurs, and then I'll drive by and see a parade, and I'll be like, "What's going on?" And it's just a big fun event for the community. It's free to the community. So,
Okay,
And the difference in this one, the charge was $600?
yes, and that is because they don't camp; they use less space, so they don't use all
And
the
it
soccer
is free to the
fields.
public?
And
Yes.
less time.
And it is less time.
I think I attended this one, I must not attended the other, because I didn't pay for the one I went to last year.
You'd know the other one. You got minotaurs walking around. You got
You'd
people
remember
in
it.
swords and shields. It's a different event.
Well, this one was very busy.
Yeah.
I got one question.
yeah.
Just help me in 30 seconds, tell me what you're doing. Why are you going through all of this work? What is the purpose of this particular event? Is it the kids? Is it families?
It is for families. I've raised 5 kids here. I have 4 grandkids here. And when we started doing these events, we wanted to just bring more fun things. Nowadays, there are a lot more events going on throughout the year, but we do it just to bring people together and also to help small business. They bring their booths
Okay.
and sell their items.
That helps, you know. You're just trying to use a facility big enough, you know, it's not a fundraiser, it's not whatever. I'd like to hear why people are going to this kind of work to put one of these on, so thank you.
And in the past, we've partnered with Snake River Doodles. Like on the 4th of July, we've had them bring their petting zoo down. We've ran a spook alley with these guys for the last several years. Up in one of our horse barns, they put together a spook alley in the horse barns, and we've done a profit share with those guys in the past several years.
Okay.
And so we do quite a bit with these guys. They do a lot of community events. So.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? I'd entertain a motion.
I will give you a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we go ahead and approve and sign the contract with Snake River Doodles.
We have a motion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. CCOG. CCOG and Wes.
Charity Stagg, Southeast Idaho Council of Governments.
Wes Jones, Office of Emergency Management.
Here today requesting approval to proceed with 2 grant applications for the Western States Fire Manager Grant Program. One is for the Big Onion Fuels Reduction Project. The second is for the Lava Ranches Fuels Reduction Phase 3. For the contract, grant writing contract, both would be a $5,000 fee per application, total of $10,000 for both.
I'm excited we're finally getting to the Big Onion. Seems like we've been waiting on that one for a couple of years.
Yeah, they really want some work out there.
Yeah, and your progress reports have been fantastic, thank you. Love how things are moving, so I'm excited. Grant team has looked at this and gave it a positive scores, what it looked like? Okay. Commissioner Bullock, just so you're aware, this is a fuels reduction, so they go out and clean off the hillsides,
Right.
create that.
So is it actually in the Big Onion? Because you referred to Scout Mountain. Well, the Big Onion I know isn't next to Scout Mountain.
You're correct. I was incorrect on where my location was. It is in the Big Onion area.
So that's where they
Over
run
by
the
Hawkins
cattle
Reservoir.
and over there in the,
That
what I
house.
called the Big Onion.
Yeah,
Back
the locals
behind
call
the-
it Big Onion.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was a little confused.
Yeah.
And where's the Lava Ranches?
Lava Ranches is south of Lava Hot Springs. There's a neighborhood down south of there that is called Lava Ranches.
Okay, I think there's more than one Lava Ranches up there, but it doesn't make any
Yeah.
difference, so,
I
okay.
just-
Okay, I think it's a great deal.
Okay, well, I'll move that we approve both of these and authorize, they just have chairman's signature. So any further discussion or questions?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Charity.
Thank you.
Wes.
Thank you.
Emma, I'm gonna have you wait. Dylan, can you do it in 5 minutes, Dylan? Actually, I'll give you 8. How's that?
Plenty. Dylan Evans, landfill manager. Just a quick update on the landfill. Our Freon building is completed, thanks to Dan. We took the liberty to get some insulation and warm her up. It was pretty cold in there, colder inside than it was outside until we got it insulated, so that's really awesome. There is a copy of a valve that I sent you guys for review. It was fairly expensive, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understood. It is the air-fuel mixture valve for the generator, and it is pretty important. Right now, we had some hiccups, and we're trying not to run that generator much right now. Next year, I will request in the budget that we were going to do a rebuild of generator 1, and that would include this valve that we're purchasing, or should purchase, to keep that generator running. Just kind of wanted to know what you guys' thoughts were on that, or...
Is this at like 5-year maintenance on that generator?
Mhm. Yeah, so we're coming up on the 36,000-hour rebuild, and it'll need to have that. And the valve that we have on there currently is actually discontinued, so, which worked out pretty well. That same valve was $60,000, and the new valve is $30,000, so it's a little bit better that way.
That's good. And then when will we need to do the rebuild on the second motor?
It will be October of '26, and then November of '27. So it'll be the following fiscal year.
Okay. And then we've talked in the past about needing a third motor eventually. Are we still kind of in that 5-year time frame for that, or is it
I
longer
think
than
so,
that?
if not a little longer than that. It just depends on how much gas we can get. Right now, we're not able to run both of them at full capacity.
Okay.
They're topped out at about 1,500 kilowatts apiece, and right now we can only run 2 of them at about 1,000 apiece. So,
So we got some room.
yeah, we've got quite a bit of room to grow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that stuff?
I saw in the claims part that we're paying Idaho Power, what is it, like $1,500? Is that for other things that has nothing to do with this generation process?
No, so we have to actually use power to run the blowers and flare and whatever.
Okay.
So it's kind of a silly deal that we cut them a check and then they recut us a check, but it's,
Yeah, okay. Because I saw that in the claims and I kind of, holy cow, we should be getting, so what kind of money are we getting back from the power company?
it depends, high rate months, so you have like low usage months, which are typically more like 60, 70 degrees, not a lot of power being used. And then we have big months, which are really cold or really hot months where ACs and heaters are running a lot. But I think you're looking, Christie would probably know better off the top of her head, but I think the last one was $101,000 a month for last month, so.
Okay, let's talk about the rebuild.
So I got with Christie, and we got that number down from the 360 that I promised you guys would be under. It looks like we're gonna be 353, which is really good, and they're cool. We went down and looked at some of their certified rebuild stuff, and it's just amazing. We're looking at money, and we think we have a few options. Well, we know we have a few options. We have some reduced usage on some of our remediation costs if absolutely necessary, and also for the scale house, we're gonna go to a bid but we're gonna bid sections of it. That way, we can reduce the cost as necessary to pay for this this certified rebuild.
Okay. Any questions on the rebuild?
You could save money while having less pages in that bid.
Man,
They detailed that.
Oh.
they went all out on that. I think I read nut, bolt, seal, washer about 1,000,000 times.
Commissioner Moser, anything? Anything? Then I would entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion that we go ahead and approve the rebuild, identify the funds.
Okay, we have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Dan. And we got like 3 minutes, so we will be at recess for 3 minutes.